So I just watched the live action remake of How to Train Your Dragon. It was a good movie because it was a shot for shot remake of a great movie. And I do mean shot for shot. I mean, almost every frame was exactly the original movie. It was almost uncanny how much they stuck to it. I mean, every visual cue, everything, except I guess they didn't commit to Astrid being blonde. That seemed to be the one line in the sand they made about their visual accuracy. They even got Gerald Butler to reprise his role as Hiccup's father, which was great, and I enjoyed seeing him play that because I thought that's a great role for him. The dialogue is also almost word for word the same, right? It's the same gags, it's the same quips. They add almost no new comedy. And the comedy, because it's not an animation and can't be exaggerated, some of it just doesn't land. And some of the delivery of it doesn't land, not because of the actor, it's just more that some of those lines are so iconic that you're thinking of the way those lines were said as they're saying them, and it's like dissonance. You keep thinking of the original way those lines were said. And almost I swear the dialogue is almost like visually shot for shot, dialogue shot for shot. There's a couple added things spritz through there, like they actually say his mother's name this time because in this version they already know his mother's name because the sequel has already come out. But for the most part, it's the same. And on one hand, that's very safe because that dialogue worked in the original, and we all know it worked, and they played it super safe, and this movie's probably going to do really well because they played it super safe. But if you want that story exactly as they told it, there's a better version of it. There just is. They also have the same music, the exact same. Like I guess they remixed it a little bit, but there are certain scenes that I swear it was rescored exactly the same as was done in the original. So like you can't even it just you're immediately thinking of that scene, and it's not like you forget, like you don't get lost in this story. I mean, I suppose you would if you had never seen the original. This would work well, but when you're thinking of the original, you're constantly just seeing that version playing in your head instead, and you never get lost in it because you're constantly you can't help it. Your brain is comparing it, and the music. I love that score. I love that score. The song that plays during that first test flight is one of my favorite pieces of music ever, ever. I love that score, but it again wasn't doing it any favors because you're constantly being reminded of a better movie. The problem with remaking that movie so exactly is that every frame you are reminded of this amazing movie that you could be watching instead. It's forcing you to make that visual comparison, and it's not a good comparison. I mean, it's not terrible, but the visual strikingness of animation, the way they're able to have the dragon be so expressive and so animated, and his personality shows through so much in animation and in CGI. They did a good job, but it's not the same, and you feel that loss. I mean, the connection between Hiccup and Toothless, it's not terrible, but there is a disconnect. It's not as viscerally intense a friendship as it felt in the original movie. It feels lesser for it. It does. It is interesting having this movie come out almost back to back with the remake of Lilo and Stitch, because the Lilo and Stitch movie deviated from the source material in theme and ending in a way that I didn't like and was a mistake. But what it got right was the connection between Lilo and Stitch. That human connection worked in the live action, and they were able to have that little girl interact with this CGI character in a way that you believed and felt real. I don't quite feel it. There's nothing wrong with how it is done. It's just the emotional connective tissue between Toothless and Hiccup doesn't feel quite there. It doesn't. And even though it copies everything else, it doesn't quite have that. And that's kind of critical. So it didn't have that punch. It's not terrible, because it can't be. It's kind of forced to be a good movie because it's copying a movie that had all these character beats and these emotional moments that worked, and they're just copying them. But all of those emotional moments don't quite work in some places because of the animation just isn't as readable. Like, there's certain moments that were very clear and conveyed a lot of information in the animation that don't convey what they need to in live action. I don't know if they rearranged the order of events or it just felt too rushed, but Hiccup's journey it feels off a little bit. They don't convey all the information you need for the narrative story to work. Like, there's a critical piece of information. Like, they don't explain anywhere in this movie that a dragon is fireproof on the outside, but is not fireproof on the inside. Or if they did it in such a way that it did not come through to the audience. And that's kind of a big and critical information to have in that finale, and it's nowhere in this movie. Like, in the original, the scene where they convey that information is I swear to God, 5 seconds long. It wouldn't have taken them much to have that moment where Toothless sprays a little firebolt in that little dragon in his mouth, and then Hiccup realizes, oh, they're not fireproof on the inside. That is a 5-second scene that is nowhere in this movie. And it really needed to be there. Which is a minor thing, I guess, but I think it's kind of important. The flying doesn't feel as majestic because they do a bit of shaky cam to make it realistic, and which I didn't quite like, and it just took away from the majesty of the moment for me. I don't know. It's not a bad movie. It's a good movie. And it's nice seeing realistic looking dragons. I'll always enjoy seeing that. Seeing dragons at all, I am always a fan of. Always. Always. So, should I complain? No. But the whole time I was thinking, I could be watching the original. So that's what I recommend. I recommend watching the original. Not that this movie's bad, but there's a version of this that's better. Anyway, that's my thoughts on that. But what did you think of the live action remake? Tell me in the comments below. Subscribe if you want to be notified of my next review. Good night, guys. Take care.